Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. So my name is Siwela. I am the founder and owner of Siwela Wines. I am a biotechnologist by profession. I'm a winemaker. I'm a wine enthusiast. So welcome to my world of wine. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that I would usually charge for, but today I'm doing it all for free, honey. All for free because I mean, something, I just want to give it out. So this is what we're going to talk about today, is how you can establish your own wine brand. So this is not only something that you can use to establish your own brand, but the strategies that I'm going to tell you today, you can basically use that, or rather let me say the knowledge that I'm going to give to you today, it's something that you can also apply within many other industries. So what I mean by that is that because I'm in the wine industry myself, that is why I would reference with the wine industry and the wine brand. But you can basically use the same knowledge or the same information that I'm gonna share with you today to create or to start a business in, or to apply it in any other industry. It could be beverages, it could be a food brand, it could be a clothing brand, it could be a cement brand, it could be a brick brand, it could be any other brand that you want to create. So I'm just gonna not really go deep into details regarding each step that you need to follow and what you need, but I'm going to highlight I'm going to highlight the most important things that I think you need to have in place for you to actually be able to successfully establish your own brand. And this video is basically for you establishing your brand without a vineyard actually. So I must also highlight why I'm doing this video. Like I said, I usually offer consultation services, which are actually charged per hour, but these are the same questions that come up all the time. And it's not only questions that come up to people who are willing to take up my consultation services, but it's just entirely everybody that comes across me and they want to know more about how they can do this kind of a thing. So I'm going to be sharing more videos regarding this, and I'm just going to do it bit by bit. What I mean by that is I'm not going to outline everything in detail on this video, but on my next coming videos, that's what I'm going to focus on. So basically what I also want to emphasize is that for somebody to make it in the wine industry, you have to be very dedicated to the industry. You have to work hard to make it work. You have to also have the passion for what you do. And sometimes people think that this is something that people just say to discourage other people, but me as a person who has been in the industry for almost 10 years now and 2 years into the business, I think that you basically do require some level of passion to it before you can actually make it or even begin to enjoy it. It's not all fun and games, but the fun part of it is when you get to drink, because you excuse me. So basically, where do we start, right? So I decided to focus this content on starting the brand without a vineyard, because a lot of us will not be able to afford vineyards, but yes, we would want to be in the industry. And I already mentioned that besides many other professional skills, you're going to require some sort of passion, you're going to require some sort of dedication, you are going to have to work hard to make it work. And besides that, I think why would anyone want to start their own brand? Why would anyone want to start a wine business? I think a wine business is one way in which people can supplement their income. People can they can earn a living, they can earn an income, just like myself. I'm 100% full-time on the wine business, so hence I would rather just say that it's something that people can do because I do it for a living. The other thing is, okay, now we go into what you're gonna do, what you're gonna need, how you're gonna do it. So I just want to start by discussing the value chain of the wine industry. So remember that this is not only about the wine industry, but because I'm a wine person, I'm a wine professional, I'm going to focus on an industry that I know. But remember that you can use this information to apply it to your individual industry. So I think it's important that we understand how the value chain works, because most of us have different strengths and weaknesses. So we have different backgrounds, we have different skills and expertise, we've got different advantages and disadvantages. So when you understand how the industry works, you are able to pinpoint exactly where you can fit in, and you are able to, you know, match your skills, match your strengths with each relevant part of the value chain, right? So, and also interests, obviously, and also looking at you know, what do we call it, looking at opportunities that are within that, you know, that within the value chain as well. So, you know, it starts with the wine, the vineyard itself. You know, grapes need to be grown, and once the grapes are grown, and that is an entire you know, business on its own. Viticulture is a business on its own. Business people who are involved in the growing of grapes don't necessarily have to always be the ones that produce the wines, and this also creates a platform where they get to sell it to the people who get to then focus on the production of these wines that we drink and that we sell. So that's an industry. That's a business on its own. So then once the grapes are ready, once the grapes are grown, they're ready, they are of the great quality, they need to be processed, and that's when we make wine. So that's when we now have a winery. So a winery is a place where these grapes get processed, and this is where we make our wines and store our wines and mature our wines. Once we get into the winery stage, we are going to also need equipment. So there are people who sell equipment to these wineries. We're going to need all those things that are used, all those equipments, machines that are used within the winery space. So as soon as the wine, obviously, even in the winery, we're going to need some, you know, people with relevant skills, like your winemakers, you know, people working in the cellar for various positions and all those things. So now once the product has been produced, we also need to package it, and that is also another business on its own. So when we speak of the packaging part of it, we look at things like your bottles, we look at things like your capsules, and that would be either screw caps or corks that are used to used as capsules. We also look at labels, and that already on its own, and boxes as well that are being used to package the wines, and that also on its own, it is a business. So once the product is completely produced, well, it's done, it's finished, it needs to go into the market, and also once it leaves the winery space, it also has to go into a storage facility. So, and we also now have to take the product into the market, and this is another business on its own, and this is where we get distributors. So distributors can either be people who distribute locally, or they can distribute outside the country, or they can even do it both. So what we mean by that is that we have what we call imports and exports. So a distributor can decide to buy wines from another country and sell it within their own country, or they can choose to buy wine from the country where they're from and sell it to other countries. So that's exports, and the entire thing is a business on its own. And once the distributor has distributed the product into the market, and remember that a distributor does not distribute to the public. So a distributor would buy the products from the winery, and then they would sell it to your hotels, your bars, your retail shops, your restaurants, etc. So the restaurants themselves and all those retailers and all those people will then now sell the product to the market. So they would sell it to the consumers, the direct consumers, and that itself is a business on its own. And throughout all this selling process, we're going to need a sales and marketing team. We're going to need people who are going to sell the product. We are going to need people who are going to market the product, and that is also another business on its own, or those people rather are also a crucial part of the wine business in general. So I hope that and then you find the consumers who are going to enjoy the wine, buy and enjoy the wine. So that's just how the value chain operates. I hope this makes sense to you, and it helps you to figure out where best can you participate and how you can contribute within this phenomenal space of wine. So now that we have an understanding of how this value chain operates, I'd like to share with you what you're going to need for you to create a successful wine brand without a vineyard. So basically, as I already mentioned, there is an option of you buying these grapes from the people that produce them and they sell them to producers. So this is in a case where you are able to make wine yourself. This is a case where you have the relevant skills for you to produce wine yourself. You've got the resources, you've got the equipment, and you've got the place, the storage, the place where you can basically carry out your production. So, and then if you do not have all these things that are required for you to produce your own wine, you therefore can also partner up with an existing winery or an existing producer that can produce on your behalf, but you know, they would have to also produce as per your specifications. But at the same time, this is going to come at a cost. So it doesn't mean that if you don't have to buy all those stainless steel tanks or the presses or the anything else that is required to basically be used as a machinery, that it's gonna come cheap for you. It's actually going to be, you know, you're actually going to be paying more because you are being charged for each and every little thing that contributed to that bottle of wine, and it's only fair. So once you figure that out, you are also going to basically, because once the product is produced, you definitely are going to need a liquor license. So you are required by the law to be in possession of a liquor license before you begin to trade. So it is illegal to trade without a legal liquor license. So a liquor license can be in on consumption, can be a distribution license, and it can also be an event liquor license. So that is very important to have. You're also going to need to file for a trademark application, or do a trademark application with CIPC, and that is basically to protect your intellectual property. So when you create a brand, it's your intellectual property. It's something that belongs to you, so you need to protect it in order for it not to be used in the near future in any way that you do not approve, and also not for other people to now later on in the near future, when your brand is successful, to begin to use the name or the brand name and whatsoever. And once you've got the trademark, obviously other obvious things would be like a company registration. If you're going to trade, you're obviously going to need to be registered as a company. You also going to need a storage facility, because once the product is being manufactured at the manufacturing plant, it needs to move to your specific storage facility. So a storage facility for me is quite crucial, because wine is something that needs to be stored very properly, and if you don't properly store the wine, you are going to ultimately destroy the quality of this wine, and that is going to obviously end up in a lot of losses, because nobody's going to buy a bottle of wine that is oxidated, or that tastes really funny, or that is faulty. Once you have your storage facility, you basically have to have a sales and marketing plan. So a sales and marketing plan is going to guide you how you are going to sell your wines, what are going to be your way of selling, where you're going to sell it, how you're going to sell it, who are you going to sell it to, how you're going to market this brand, who are you going to speak to, how are you going to make your market listen to you, how are you going to make your market want to buy your product, and all those things that are required for you to be able to sell the bottle of wine. Because let's face it, having a bottle of wine is not the end of it. So basically having a brand is just the beginning of it, but you still need to sell the product. And selling is an everyday job. You ask me, I know all about it. I sell my wine every day, so there is no day for breaks. You can't say that today I made enough money. No, you sell every day. Once you have figured that out, you also need to know how you're going to distribute. So how is your product going to move from your facility to the consumer? So that is also very crucial, because that can either break you or make you. So consumers often want to have a speedy, speedy deliveries, efficient deliveries, and that on its own needs to be taken seriously, because if people need to wait for a very long time before they can get their products, they're really not going to come back to you. So you need to be able to configure how you're going to work your way out of that. And so basically, I think that's it. If there's anything I've forgotten, I think that it will be outlined on my next video. So remember that in the next videos that I'm going to share, I'm going to really go through each and every step and outline and tell you what are the most important things to look out for and why it's important to basically have all those things in place. So if you also want to book a consultation with me, I'll be more than happy to assist, but just remember it comes at a cost, honey. So my consultation fees are generally 700 rands per hour. So basically you can email us at info@siwelawines.co.za. You can give us a call 06052914486. You can email us info@siwelawines.co.za. Do visit our website for more. We also have wine courses. We've got like a wide range of products, wines, accessories that you can choose from on our website www.siwelawines.co.za. And until then, I would like to thank you and see you again. Cheers.